Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Nordin. My group and I will explain more about our product, which is Mudharabah current and saving account deposit.
In Islamic bank, deposit saving account on the basis of Mudharabah are considered investments of depositor for a share in the profit, where they allow the banks to use their deposited money invested in profitable business venture which are legal in Islam. The depositor will be considered as a Rabbul Mal, while the bank as a Mudharib. However, deposit current account has a big difference where it is based on the principle of Wadiyah Amanah or safekeeping, that the bank treats the fund as a trust and cannot use it for its operation unless they got the permission from the depositors. This deposit account also can be categorized as Qard Hasan or interest-free loan, whereby the depositor is simply the lender and the bank is the borrower. The bank will guarantee the full return of the entire deposit amount, but the depositors will not be eligible for the profit earned as they are not subjected to the risk, and any loss incurred will be borne entirely by the bank.
Okay, so the first one is the matters are determined by intentions. Intentions of a person should not contradict to Sharia. Principles and guidelines must be specific and clear, also far from ambiguity. Okay, so there are two types of account in Mudharabah deposit account, which is the first one is savings account and the second one is current account. So in the case that the Islamic banking and finance officer presents and disclose all the information related to Mudharabah deposits product to the customers, it is also a must for both parties to have a clear intentions, so that there will be no misunderstanding and dissatisfaction among both parties. Okay, so moving on to the next point is the certainty is not overcome by doubt. Certainty is not overcome by doubt is major maxims that popularly with these two terms, which is the first one is the yakin and shak. Yakin means having knowledge or ilm will counter the uncertainty, the doubt, which a person will not be born by any doubt. For instance, the depositor only provides the deposited assets after accusing the Islamic bank was trustworthy. This accusation cannot cancel only based on suspicion alone without certain and strong evidence. Okay, so the next related major maxims is the harm is to be eliminated. So harm that is to be eliminated is that the obviously is that Mudharabah deposit products is free from any riba, popularly known as interest or usury, since Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala also states that He permitted trade but forbids riba. Alright, so moving on to the last related major maxims to our product, which is the custom is arbitrary. Okay, so it is well known that the custom is arbitrary is well informed that the rules and regulation of Allah is where the subject to changes of a custom must comply with the Sharia guidelines and principles. For example, in Mudharabah deposit account, the depositor will receive the hibah with the discretionary of Islamic bank. but this gain is not to be made as, but the gain does not become a custom or a permanent practice up to the point that it will look similarly, such as riba.
Move on to the comprehensive minor maxims. We have chosen two minor maxims that are related to Mudharabah deposit. Firstly, in contracts, greater weight is given to intention and meaning than words and form is one of the minor maxims that can be related to Mudharabah deposit. The maxim states that it is the underlying object and aim of a transaction which will determine the legal position of that transaction. In the event of a difference between the wording of an expression and its meaning, consideration should be prior to the meaning and not to the literal wording. Such that is, in determining the validity of a transaction, we should consider the economic substance of a legal form. This maxim indicates this rule in the interpretation of contracts. This maxim is a branch of matters are determined according to intentions. For example, the Mudharabah deposit current account, where it is based on the principle of wadi'ah yad amanah, which is safekeeping. The bank needs to treat the fund as a trust and cannot use it for its operation unless they have the depositor's permission. If the bank uses the deposit, the ruling changes to that of a fungible loan, which is card. Secondly, the presumptive rule is that transitory attributes that do not exist can also be considered as one of the minor maxims related to Mudharabah. This maxim applies to a variety of financial transactions and contractual rights and responsibilities. The non-existence of transitory attribute is their original condition. Therefore, their existence is doubtful. Events induce certain attributes that are not inherent to the subject matter but arise later. For example, deposit savings accounts on the basis of Mudharabah are considered investment of depositors for a share in the profit, where they allow the banks to use their deposited money invested in profitable business ventures. But if dispute occurs between the bank mudarib and the depositor Rabbul Mal as to whether any profit was realized for the project, the word of the depositor will be taken and the bank need to provide evidence because profit is a transitory attribute and cannot be assumed.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Siti Nabila Shadizari from QAWA'ID class section 2. So our group has assigned with an assignment on the topic Mudharabah, which is on current account and saving account. So I will talk more briefly about the application on the maxim that apply in this product. As we all know that there are 5 major maxims that apply in Sharia ruling. For our product, which is on Mudharabah, we choose up to only 4 major maxims that we seems more acceptable on our product, which are matter are determined by intention, certainty is not overcome by doubt, harm is to be eliminated, and custom is an arbitrary. So I will talk more briefly on the application in fiqh. Application apply in fiqh for the maxim. Matters are determined by intention is that if the person kills another person intentionally and he is convicted with the crime, the heir of the victim has the right to demand for the death penalty. But if the crime happened unintentionally, the punishment will be different, which he is amount to pay for the deer. While the application apply in the maxim of certainty is not overcome by doubt, is when the person is unsure whether he has paid or not their zakat. He is still liable to pay with it because the obligation of zakat has established on his liability with certainty. Other than that, application that apply in the maxim of harm to be eliminated is that driving above the speed limit is prohibited in Islam because it is likely to lead to an accident and can cause harm to individual and property. Last but not least, the application in fiqh that apply in maxim of custom is an arbiter, is that the right and duties of husband and wife are partially determined by the custom. For example, the amount of household maintenance that the husband are required to give for his wife is determined determined by place, time, and social class. There are a number of minor maxims that related to the major maxim that are ruling in the Sharia principle. But for our product, we only choose up to 2 minor maxims which are on in contract, greater weight is given to intention and meaning than words and form, and presumptive rule is transitory. Application in fiqh that apply in presumptive rule is transitory is when a person consume another's asset. But in the meantime, there are a dispute happen between consumer and the owner. The consumer said that the owner gave him the permission to use the asset. In contrast, the owner denies the permissions. So in this case, the Sharia will uphold the owner's claim because it can be guaranteed the permission is given as the owner does not say so. Therefore, the proof is required before it can be basis for judgment. For the maxim in contracts, greater weight is given to intention and meaning than words and form. The application that apply in this maxim is that if the person say that I will sold my car to you as a gift, but if you pay me 50,000 ringgit first, then I will consider to give to you. This is not considered as a gift because it does not change the nature of proposed transaction, which is sale. In contrast, if he say that I will sell my car to you with no price, hence it is considered as a gift rather than sale. So this acceptor does not entitled to give any return to it.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now let's move on to the next part, which is the application of the maxim in our product, Mudharabah current and saving account deposit. Okay, the first Islamic legal maxim that apply in our product is Al-umur bimaqasidiha. Matters are determined by intention. Okay, let's first consider an example about our product related to this maxim, which is in the case of Islamic bank declare their policy of financing customer on non-interest basis, it will be necessary to do so and not merely continue the same practice and seeking to rationalize it in Islamic terms by changing the relevant title or name, such as calling it buyback or markup. Likewise, it will not be permissible for the banks to practice this Mudharabah contract in such a way as to ensure a fixed rate of return for the banks while the liability of bearing loss or an uncertain amount of remaining profit is transferred to the working partner. The second Islamic legal maxim is Al-yaqinu la yazulu bishak. Certainty is not overcome by doubt. Okay, let's see in this product if the bank which is act as a mudharib has entered into a mudharabah contract under current account deposit with another partner, which is the customer, and the bank is in doubt, or which is the bank is unsure whether they have refund of the entire amount of deposit or not. Therefore, the bank are considered as still liable to perform until there is proof to show otherwise. The third legal maxim is Ad-dararu yuzal. Harm is to be eliminated. For example, in conventional bank, they will use the deposited money for its operation and then will refund it based on the fixed rate of return on your investment. Therefore, this method is illegal as it will lead to the elements of riba. However, Islamic banks have eliminated this harm that may afflict people wealth, where in Mudharabah current and saving account, the bank and customers will share the profit based on the profit ratio instead of fixed rate. The last Islamic legal maxim applied in this product is Al-ada muhakkamah. Custom is an arbiter. For this product, jurists hold that this kind of contract is not derived from any specific authentic legal text such as from Al-Quran or Al-Hadith. However, this Mudharabah contract is legitimate by the Sharia simply because it was widely practiced before Islam and the companions of the Prophet Muhammad SAW practiced it without objection being raised to it.
To conclude, there are only 2 products accepted for saving and current account under Islamic bank, which are Wadi'ah and Qad Hasan. Under Mudharabah principle, bank act as a trustee and entrepreneur, while the customer act as a capital provider and deposit. booster respectively. To this end, there was an urgent need for creating capable professionals to improve the quality of the Islamic banking systems. The management of Islamic banking had to socialize and promote the Islamic banking product to the people